Have you ever been in the middle of an ordinary day when the past suddenly found you? Maybe you heard an old song in a grocery store, someone used a familiar phrase, or you passed a place you had not thought about in years, and for a few seconds, you were no longer where you were. You were back inside an old conversation, a painful goodbye, an embarrassing mistake, or a decision you still wonder about. You remembered what was said, what you should have said, and perhaps the person you believe you might have become if that moment had gone differently. You tell yourself it is over. You know you cannot change it. Yet your mind keeps returning. Why? Maybe you are not thinking about the past because you are weak, nostalgic, or incapable of moving on. Maybe your brain believes the past still contains something important. But here is the more unsettling question. What if the memory you cannot forget is not actually the real problem? To understand that, we first need to understand what memory is. Your brain is not a camera. It does not preserve every event as a complete and objective recording. It selects, organizes, and reconstructs fragments according to what seemed meaningful at the time and what feels meaningful now. Most ordinary moments fade because they demand nothing from us. You probably cannot remember what you ate for lunch on a random Tuesday 3 months ago, but you may still remember the exact expression on someone's face when they rejected you 10 years ago. The difference is not simply time, it is emotional importance. Psychologist Endel Tulving used the term episodic memory to describe our ability to mentally revisit personal experiences. These memories allow us to travel backward through our own lives, not only to know that something happened, but to feel as though we are briefly returning to it. That is why a memory can make your body react before your rational mind catches up. Your chest tightens, your face becomes warm, your stomach drops. The event is gone, but part of your nervous system responds as though its meaning is still present. Unpleasant experiences can be especially persistent because the brain is highly attentive to potential danger. Psychologists often describe this broader tendency as negativity bias. Threatening or painful information can receive more attention than neutral or pleasant information. From a survival perspective, this makes sense. Forgetting where you once encountered danger could be costly. Remembering it might keep you safe. But a system built to remember physical danger can also preserve social danger, humiliation, abandonment, rejection, failure. Your brain may replay an awkward conversation for the same basic reason it remembers a threatening path through the woods. It is searching for a lesson. What did I miss? How can I prevent this from happening again? What does this say about me? And that last question is more important than it appears. We will return to it, because sometimes the mind begins by reviewing an event, but ends by putting your entire identity on trial. There is another reason certain memories remain mentally active. They feel unfinished. In the 1920s, psychologist Bluma Zeigarnik studied how interrupted tasks could remain more accessible in memory than completed ones. The effect associated with her work became known as the Zeigarnik Effect. Although later research suggests the phenomenon depends on context, the central idea is deeply relatable. Incomplete experiences can continue demanding attention. An unanswered message, an apology you never received, a relationship that ended without explanation, a version of the future that disappeared before you could say goodbye to it. Your mind dislikes an open story, so it revisits the details, rearranges the evidence, and imagines alternate endings. You call it overthinking. Your brain may experience it as unfinished business. But there is a trap here. Replaying an experience is not the same as resolving it. Research on memory reconsolidation, including influential work by neuroscientist Karim Noder and his colleagues, suggests that reactivated memories can enter a temporarily changeable state before being stored again. This does not mean every memory changes completely whenever you recall it, but remembering is more dynamic than simply retrieving an untouched file. Your present emotions can influence how the past is experienced. If you remember a failure while feeling ashamed, the memory may return wrapped in shame. If you repeat the same interpretation, I ruined everything, I was never good enough, people always leave me, that interpretation can become increasingly familiar, and familiarity can feel like truth. This creates another open loop. What is the one mistake many people make when they are trying to move on? They try to erase the memory without questioning the identity built around it. This is where the past becomes more than a past event. Personality psychologist Dan McAdams has described narrative identity as the evolving internal story through which people connect their reconstructed past with their imagined future. In other words, you do not only remember your life, you create a story about what your life means. And painful memories can become turning points in that story. I was rejected becomes I am unlovable. I made a mistake becomes I ruin everything. I trusted the wrong person becomes I cannot trust my own judgment. I was abandoned becomes everyone eventually leaves. Notice what happened. The memory began as something you experienced, then it became evidence about who you are. This is the emotional center of rumination. You may believe you are trying to solve the past when you are actually trying to answer a question about yourself. Am I safe now? Was it my fault? Did that moment reveal who I really am? Will the same thing happen again? And if a memory has become part of your identity, releasing it can feel strangely threatening. Even a painful story can provide continuity. It tells you why you are cautious, why you struggle to trust, or why you expect disappointment. Without that story, who would you be? This is why just let it go rarely works. You are not only being asked to release an event, you may be being asked to release a version of yourself that formed around it. But the story your mind created during pain is not necessarily the only story available. Perhaps you were not weak. Perhaps you were overwhelmed. Perhaps you were not foolish. Perhaps you made the best decision you could with the information and emotional resources you had. Perhaps being rejected did not reveal your worth. It revealed a mismatch, another person's limitations, or a moment that hurt more deeply than you understood at the time. This is not about replacing reality with comforting fiction. It is about recognizing that your harshest interpretation was still an interpretation. So when the past returns, try asking something different. Not, how do I make this disappear? Ask, what conclusion about myself did I form here? Then ask, is that conclusion still fair? You might also ask what remains unfinished. Is it grief, anger, shame, a need for acknowledgement, compassion for the younger version of you who had to continue without understanding what had happened? Sometimes closure comes through another person. Often, it does not. Sometimes closure is the moment you stop waiting for the past to provide a different ending and begin giving it a different meaning. This does not mean rumination will immediately disappear. Persistent or distressing thoughts can have many causes, and professional support may be helpful when they interfere with daily life. But self-understanding can change the way you meet the memory. Return to that ordinary moment from the beginning, the song, the place, the familiar phrase. The memory appears again. But this time, instead of treating it as proof that you are trapped, you recognize it as a message from a story that may need revision. The past is still part of you, but it is not all of you. You are not only the person who was hurt, rejected, embarrassed, or left behind. You are also the person who survived long enough to look back with a perspective your younger self did not yet have. Perhaps your mind has not been asking you to live in the past. Perhaps it has been waiting for you to stop confusing what happened to you with who you are. The goal is not to erase your memories. It is to remember them without allowing them to write every chapter that comes next. If this video helped you understand yourself a little better, consider subscribing for more psychology videos about the hidden patterns behind everyday human behavior. Because you cannot rewrite what happened, but you can decide whether the past remains your identity or becomes one part of a much larger story.